So Paul, it seems to me as a doctor that I can tell most of the time when somebody's sick, but some philosophers have told me, no, you can't, because your definition of disease is socially infused and socially constructed. Could you tell us your take on that?
Yeah, that's a popular view, and it's a view that's it has its basis in the fact that we know historically that what we've thought is a disease is clearly a highly problematic social construct.
I mean, I say one of my patients says alcoholism, and somebody says no, it's just cultural difference, and you're interpreting it and putting a label on it.
Yeah, and we used to say that homosexuality was a disease. Another great example, in the 19th century, there was a strange disease that women used to get that no one seems to talk about anymore. It was called hysteroid depression. Now, this looks to us just like, that's not a disease, that's just somebody being sexist. But, the trouble is that, sure, historically, disease has been a social construction. The question is whether or not...
Wait. What is social construction?
It's the view that the categories that we use are not accurate reflections of the way things are divided up in nature.
There's something we
not
make
out
up.
in nature. They're our interpretation affected by our values and our interests.
But we do use our culture and our values and our interests to make decisions about what's normal and abnormal, so it sounds to me like the social constructionists are right about that.
The question is whether we should have an ideal of trying to let the facts drive the way that we classify things. So there are many sciences in which we used to classify things in a way that was very local and really just the way we did it around here, and now we have things like the chemical elements, which we take to be a pretty accurate reflection of how things are. And in biology, we used to classify species in all sorts of unusual ways, and now we try to put together groups that have a shared common ancestor. And we say, that's not actually a species. Those two groups of organisms, they're a little bit different color, but they're the same species. Or vice versa. We say, you guys used to think there was only one kind of bat in this place, but there's actually two kinds of bats. They look pretty similar.
Thanks to DNA and being able to
Thanks to DNA, indeed. And this can be very important. It's very important, for example, in disease transmission in mosquitoes. You need to be really smart to work out how many species of mosquitoes there are, and that really matters because one of those species is going to kill you and the other one isn't. In Australia, historically, that's been a really tough scientific problem. It took a long while to solve. I think it was, I'm forgetting the name of the biologist, he's famous. So in the same way, we might think that...
Are there some diseases that are socially constructed and others that are, just a matter of nature?
What I would say is that diseases are real, and our estimates of what the diseases are is a social construction, but our aim is to reflect what they really are. Now that's a controversial view. A lot of people think that, look, medicine's not like chemistry. There aren't any real rigid kinds. I tend to take the view that for many areas of medicine, particularly psychiatry, your own field, it's really unclear what the real categories are, and we're a long way from solving that. In other areas, where we're talking about something like metabolic disease and diabetes, I don't think I think our way of thinking about it in our society is pretty much telling it like it is.
You can measure glucose levels. If only you could measure cognition in a similar way. Let's go on in a minute and talk about mental disorders.